Welcome to Falling Forward Fridays, where we get to learn how to be more resilient through the power of storytelling. Now, this storytelling is live. We're live on this lovely Friday. And today we have a special guest. And our guest, if you're from New York City, make sure you give him a shout out, whether you're in Facebook or on YouTube. It's live people. So we're going to need all the love and support through our comments. And so today's guest is Lou Bruschi, who's District 31 Community Connector, my personal friend as well, and really a leader I look up to. If you're on YouTube, you could check out his full interview. He's an early riser. And if you're on Facebook, please make sure you go and check out his page as well. However, today in Falling Forward Friday, his topic, it's a hot topic. So if you have a spouse or a partner out there, go and tell him or her to jump on this live, because he's going to be talking about how you don't pick your partner picks you. And with that, I am going to bring up Lou Bruschi. Make sure I want to see hearts and comments in here. Here's Lou Bruschi. Lou, happy Friday.
Hello, Patricia. How are you? So good to be here with you, Patty.
I'm well, and I love how we're doing this live. Looks like you're driving. Just kidding, guys. I made sure he wasn't driving.
I am in the car. We are on the move, but I'll be arriving at my destination shortly. But this time is an important time, so I wanted to make sure that we could have this conversation the way it's supposed to be had. But yes. I want to start off just by unraveling a little bit about the partner pick. So okay. I am in the car with my bride, my spouse, my partner, Jessica, and there's nothing I would be able to accomplish without her. But the conversation isn't really about picking that kind of partner. And I didn't realize that when we had our first conversation about this topic. So much of what I do in the schools and in the community is working with different partners. And when I said, you don't pick your partner picks you, I was talking about school partners. And I got a few people when they saw the postings as we were preparing for tonight. They said, Lou, oh my goodness, are you like giving dating advice and stuff now? I said, what do you mean? So the partner, and it could apply, it probably does apply to the partner, because Jessica certainly picked me, and she could have anybody she wanted, but I was the one that must have been just about right, or on my way to right at that point, and she picked me. But I'm not going to get into all the history and the details, mostly because it's so long ago I don't remember it, and the rest of it is that I'm still a very lucky person to have such a great partner.
This is great. We got Katie, KG saying good evening to us. I don't know if you were able to see the comments below.
I'm not sure. Let me see here.
Yeah, if you tap into your screen. But you'll see it. I'll tell you who's here. I'm asking people to write down their comments. So that's great. This is the beauty about live streaming. We get to correct each other live and redirect. Redirect and correct. Why not? We can do both.
Absolutely. So the partner piece, early on, I was principal for 10 years, 6 years at PS 78 in the Stapleton section of Staten Island. And then the next 4 years at Dreyfus Intermediate School 49. For the bulk of that time, I stayed with the same students and worked in the same community. But early on at PS 78, I faced a lot of different challenges in the work, challenges with our families, challenges in the community. But most of it was challenges in myself. What I had set up as the problem that I'd have to face was wrong. I thought that it was just more structure that was needed, more work that was needed, better educators. But in reality, what we needed to do was work together better as a community. Yes. And I wasn't aware of that in my first couple of years. And there are a couple of early lessons that I received. Received might be the wrong word. There were a couple of lessons, early lessons, that kind of hit me
Okay.
in the head like a brick, and luckily I was able to recognize that they were lessons. You
Yeah.
know, that became part of the work in a really instructive way. So I'll give two examples off the bat, and then maybe we could talk about questions on how that developed over time and what that evolved into. But
Yeah.
the first, the first was when we had a community meeting,
Mm.
and I invited about 100 people to our community meeting. Uh, I was raised Catholic, and in our community we have two Catholic churches right by the school. And I went over to both churches and asked the churches if they would be able to send one of the priests over just to be part of the conversation about the greater community work that's happening and what we need to do to find a way to work together. In addition to that, I went over to people who own businesses in the community.
We have a little bit of a layover. Lou, I don't know if you could hear me. A little bit of layover. Maybe you are going through a block that's blocking us. In the meantime, good evening, Sanka Kadik and KG. So, Lou, let me know if you could hear me now. We lost you for about a few seconds.
All right.
Okay.
Is this
Well,
better?
much better, much better. In the meantime, I was reading some of the comments. Amazing community partner, collaborative and action oriented. I agree. He is the best at bringing people to the table. So I'm reading some of your comments as we were lost for a few seconds. Jimmy said there should be a Dear Lou column in the Staten Island Advance where Lou gives out dating advice. This is from the beginning of our conversation, but I had to read those out loud.
Well, it's good to see that some of the friends are tuning in. I hope we're making new friends and new partners in this work.
Yes.
So what I was starting to say, I think I tried to reach out. I'm not sure if you heard me. With that first big community meeting, we had about 100 people invited. We ended up with about 40 people showing up at that first meeting. And the people who I wanted there, which were the priests in the Catholic churches that were nearby, some of the community leaders who were business leaders in the community, or the people who owned, let's say, the laundromat, the people who owned a couple of the barbershops, they really didn't need me. They really didn't see the value in developing a relationship with a new principal. What ended up happening is there were several pastors from three different Christian churches who heard about the community night that we were having, and they showed up at the meeting. We also had a rabbi, and we had a couple of other people who were, I'll say, self-described and self-appointed community activists.
Okay.
And what I didn't realize in that early conversation and that very early part of my work as a school principal is that they were the people who felt like they needed to be involved in the work.
Okay.
And the pastors who were there from the Christian churches are still my friends to this day. And now that's 10 years. Not only are they my friends, but I probably have, because of them, 8 or 9 other pastors from different denominations and Christian communities on Staten Island that I call as friends. We have a lot going on in our community right now. There are a number of asylum seekers, and the church community is responding very generously. And it's because I'm able to call on all those friends in those churches, in those communities, that we're able to provide the resources that are necessary for the asylum seekers. But when I first met them, I was shocked. I didn't know who they were. I didn't really invite them officially myself. And because of that, I was a little guarded about how I would first interact with them. Catholic Church is very different than the Christian churches, and I didn't really know how to roll with that. But as time went on, I learned that they work from their hearts and they work from their souls, from their spirits. And I realized that that's what I was doing, and I didn't even know it at that point.
Yeah, that's very interesting, Lou, that you actually starting this conversation with that, because I don't know if you remember, that was our first interaction when you told me we were in your conference room and you said, this table right here, you had looked at the back of my card, my business card, where I had a scripture, and you said, uh, my conference table is with pastor this, reverend that, priest this, father that, and oh, I mean, you kept going, and you
Conference
said,
table
I
is
teach.
with
Oh, it's okay. I teach the mind. They deal with the heart, and that stayed with me when you mentioned that. And I just want to give a little bit of shout outs as we're saying this, because we need to go and hear back to the dating. Your wife said Lou picked me. And we also got Yolanda Soto saying good evening. Thank you for joining us. We got Savannah Darlene saying, hey, Mr. Bruschi, she misses you. And hey, Patty, thank you. Thank you. And these are, that's one of our parents from our first robotics back in, wow, almost 4 years ago now. So thank you, everybody, for joining. And I want to make sure I get everybody in here as well. Okay. So thank you, Lou, for that. Can you still hear us?
Yes, I'm still good.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So you mentioned that they knew, all these stakeholders knew the importance of them getting to know you. So they had their responsibility to get to know the new principal. And they make sure they were there. And what you were saying is that the invitations at first were not one-on-one. You were getting to know new people, so that's very interesting. And yes, as stakeholder, that to me, that shows they care about their community. Who's the new guy, right? And why is he here, and who is he all about? So for sure.
It was a great experience, and I wish I could tell you that I was in that meeting and understood it perfectly at that point. But I was still very green and a little thick-headed, and because of that, I think I was disappointed almost at that time
Really?
that the people who I wanted there, I expected a little more, I'll say, formality in the parts of the community that
Mm.
should be interested in, I'll say, directing where
Ah.
to happen. And I expected that to come from the part of the community that had the most formal power in the places where they could operate. But they weren't there. And
Mm.
walked away from that think a little crestfallen, a little disappointed that I didn't have that support in place.
Mhm.
And what I didn't understand at that point is the people who are already in power don't really have a need to expand their reach,
Mm.
because
Mhm.
that could potentially undermine the position that they hold in the community. And by bringing somebody new on, it kind of dilutes the power and the structure.
Yeah.
So the people who are interested in finding new partners, the people who found me and found the work that we were doing, are the people who recognized the value in working together and
Yes.
growing our opportunities with and for each other in the community.
Yeah.
And they have the same things to potentially lose, or weren't looking at it as a power struggle. Instead, they were looking at it as an opportunity to make things better for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks, my dog has just joined our live as well. I don't know if you guys could see Poppy and her yoga stretches that she wanted to teach all of our new friends. We have Glenn. Thank you for joining, Cadell, and Betty Lopez in Florida. This is awesome. So we're bringing the conversation to everywhere in the United States, Lou. And thank you for your transparency, right? Like to say we all start green, right? Nobody has walked out of the wound running, right? We first got in our belly and our back, we crawled and we got up and then we walked. So, and it's true. It's true when you mentioned I believe you said when we're in that, when we're in power or a certain stage of our careers, we might lose sidetrack that their beginnings are everywhere, and there, as you mentioned, there are opportunities. And with new people who are unique and they bring new strength and new ideas, it's important to welcome them and listen, right? So it's a really neat one. And again, I don't know who else is going to be talking about the topic. If you thought it was about dating, thanks for joining anyway. To the conversation. And you're right, it does apply, right? It applies to listen and to be part of the conversation. So that's interesting, Lou. I love that because when I met you, you already had that team around that table, and I got to meet great people because of your connections. And hi, now you're the community connector. So I love that conversation. I want to make sure that I got to all the comments. So yeah, and if anybody wants to chime in too with any questions, Lou is going to be here for the next hour. I am just kidding. I told Lou, listen, this is how to be more resilient, falling forward. And you have taken this opportunity to share with us about the time where Lou Bruschi was feeling a little green.
Yeah, the newness doesn't stop, and and
Yes.
and one of the things, I mean, obviously, I'm in a new role now. I've just moved into this position, and still
Hmm.
trying to navigate what this new space means for me and what it means for the way I'm able to work.
Yes.
But so much happens. I think we grow and we evolve and we encounter things. It could be the same thing year after year, but
Mhm.
because we've changed, those things are new. We're able
Yes.
to read it in new ways, and not to get too much into the realm of faith, but I
All right, Lou, we lost you here. While you come back, I'm gonna go ahead and read some of the comments. Jimmy said, "What is one of the biggest obstacles for a community when there are multiple stakeholders?" So as we wait for Lou to come back to the live, drop some questions for him, right? And his wife is joining us as well. And we could talk about stakeholders and community if you're in a school district or not, or a nonprofit or partnership as well. So thank you, Jimmy, for the comment. And if you don't know, Jimmy is my husband. And yeah, newness. I learn something new every day from my husband. Today he was in a row of with jokes, and so that is something that was super nice to have there. All right. So again, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If you're new to me, I'm Patty Zito, as it says right here, with Wise Superstars, where we believe that every person has a unique gift and contribution to this world. And that's how Lou and I met. My husband and I brought a few programs to one of his schools, and from there, it was the beginning of our partnership, right? Of our collaboration in the school, as well as my YouTube channel, and now this live here in Facebook. So as he comes back, and we'll get the screen out. My partner over here, Poppy, I don't know if you could see her, has brought me her toy to make sure she also is being paid, that I am paying attention to. Okay, so if you guys could drop your comments, if you are interested of coming and sharing a story that you have, right, where you whether felt you tripped, made a mistake, fell forward, because as Lou mentioned from the beginning of this interview, those became lessons. And I love to say, lessons as many as we get, they become wisdom, and they show in your hair. Absolutely. So thank you for joining us. For those who have been here from the beginning, we started the conversation with redirecting from thought it was the dating partnership to community stakeholders. So we'll wait for Lou, and I'll take some of your questions. I'll make sure I have this question up as soon as we get Lou. Let's see. Lou, are you back with us? Okay. Not a problem, guys. Not a problem. This is the beauty. I love going live because you really, there's no editing at the moment. And I had one live, I did an open mic, and we had a thunderstorm. And during that thunderstorm in the live, power went out. Our co-host grabbed those drums and went for it and kept a lot of people there. All right. So if Lou is not able to come back, I want to recap about the story that he was talking about when he first became a principal in Staten Island, and how he gathered, or how he was surprised to see the leaders that came up to meet him instead of what he had expected from other people to come and get to know him. And so again, if you're joining, you could actually, I'm going to take this out until he comes back. If you're just joining us, he will be back. And if this is the end, that is the end as well. But you could drop some of your questions in here. I could pick my guitar. If you want me to pick up my husband's guitar, I can make some music as we wait. But please put in any questions you have, whether for Lou or for me, about this topic of falling forward. How is it that lessons help you be more resilient and more persistent? So again, drop it in the comments. Thank you everybody that has given likes and hearts for joining us. Okay, we have a question. Please do so. Oh wait, Teresa, are you talking about a guitar? Thank you for joining. I'm not sure what you meant. Yeah, get the guitar. This is live. I was gonna say live TV, but we're not a live TV. Okay, I'm gonna make sure that I bring Lou's screen back on. This is so great. I have been called to play the guitar. Okay, I'll get the guitar. Why not? Jimmy, walk me through. Patty, tell us a story about building community. Okay, I have a choice. I'm gonna get the guitar. Yes, this is live. You make a promise live, you got to deliver it, right? Oh, yes. Lou, I hope you can save me here. I brought in the guitar. Let's see what we have. Oh, it looks like my husband was going to do. Yes, honey. I got it from the room. He's not here. So this is what I'm going to do. Why not? I'm going to answer both questions. Jimmy want to know how to building community through music. No, I was actually going to take this question. Patty, tell us a story about building community. And Teresa said, get the guitar. So this is not mine. I'm learning how to play the piano. So I'm going to go for it. Hey, did you hear that? How do I build community? Oh, this is great. Bling, bling. I'm making that up with my mouth, not the guitar, but give me some love. Follow my YouTube channel. And now I'm going to share a story. Lou, I hope you get back. This is great. I'm sweating, people. I'm about to take off the sweater. Okay. I started my career as a counselor in the way I build community. Now, I'm not even this is what I'm doing. Honey, you want to tell me where to put my finger, what to do with this. Do I take this out? But let's do. Oh my goodness, drop me some love, people. Drop me some love. Tell us about building community. Okay, so my first bing bam community as a full-time director. What is this? Building community through engagement. Love it. Yes. My first community as a full-time director at the Y, all the way back in 2006, was at PS 57. I was the new director, and I knew the power of showtime, of music, and how that would get people together. So one of my biggest, I'm a storyteller, as you can tell. Definitely not a guitar. If I'm like killing someone's ear at this point, was to gather everybody, because parents wanted to see their children just drama. Yes, thank you.
I'm so sorry. There was a call that I could not ignore. It doesn't usually happen on a Friday night, but here I am, and I had to take the call.
This is honesty and transparency 101, people. You had me playing a guitar, Lou, and telling the story at the same time, because that's what the people wanted, and that's what I gave to them. I don't know, this must be your friend, but Tersa said, get the guitar, and Jimmy asked me how to build community through music and for me to tell a story about community building. Do you mind if I finish the story, but not with the guitar? I'm going to put it down.
Sure, go ahead. Because I'm still learning.
So I was sharing about my first full-time position as a director, as a senior coordinator in PS 57, right around the corner from 78. And one of the things that I used to build community was the culminating events, or the talent show, as parents will see. I'm here to see my child play, act, or whatever. And so that was my time to make it big, to bring food, to get all the announcements I could have during each show, right? Because I knew sometimes, your child performs, you are out. So I used that time to communicate and to let the parents know that they were a huge part of what we were trying to do with the after school program. And one of the things I remember about our collaboration, Lou, when we did robotics, shout out to our robotics mom, who's here, was to do the culminating event in the middle of the program. So that way we get to know more about the parents, and then the parents get asked more questions towards the end of the program versus waiting until the end when it's goodbye, end of the year, everybody goes to summer and forgets everything. So that will be some of that. So anyway, I have stopped sweating, embarrassing myself with the guitar, and I have finished and delivered what the people have asked. Lou, the mic is yours.
So, I think anybody who knows me knows that music is a critical part of my world. My wife and Jessica and the girls all play music, and we have impromptu jam sessions that go on all the time. And I think music is a fabulous metaphor, especially group music, to talk about what it means to be in community, what it means to come together. And I'm glad you broke out the guitar. I think everybody's lucky, though, that you didn't break out the guitar while I was on the call, because if I start singing publicly, it would be a disaster for everybody.
If you want that, drop it in the comments. We have to deliver it if that's what the people want.
I am not that customer service oriented. Okay, so no matter what the audience asks for, there are some things that I'm just going to exercise final veto power. But the other thing, and it's really interesting that you talk about the parent piece. The other item that I wanted to talk about tonight was our first PTA. And it took us a while to assemble a PTA, and there were a handful of parents who I met very early on, people who would come to walk their children to school in the morning, pick them up at the end of the day, everybody dressed impeccably and ready to go into the world successfully. And those were parents who were coming to drop off their children early and pick them up on time because they were off to work as well. And they weren't really available to do the volunteer work that's necessary in the PTA. And instead, I got a different group of parents, those who were available during the day, those with younger children, so they were still home. And it right off the bat, it wasn't easy to be able to be successful with them because there were other distractions and other I'll say priorities that were pulling on how they were able to support the school. And again, like I was at that first community meeting with the beginning of this PTA formation, I struggled with trying to understand why I couldn't get the PTA that I wanted, and
Mm,
instead ended up with a PTA that had other priorities beyond the PTA. And it probably took me about 4 months, 5 months to figure out that I got the PTA that I needed. I had the parents who wanted to be involved in the work. I had the parents who were so committed to the community that, in spite of all those other priorities, they were
mm.
still making time for the school. And we had meeting after meeting, and some of our meetings would last, 2.5, 3 hours
Wow.
because we had so much to talk about to get through the issues that they recognized had to be addressed. And I realized through that first cohort of PTA parents that I had that I got a much deeper understanding of the community. By the end of the year, we ended up having a beautiful luncheon where about 40 people showed up, not just the parents in the PTA, but extended members of their families, where we were able to get to meet and know each other in a much more authentic way, a way that opens up bridges. These are people who I still talk to. I ran into two of them about 2 months ago. They were in my office when I was still at IS 49. They came in to say hello, to ask how I was doing, and talking about what they were up to. And their children are all older now, and they're on to greater things. These are people who are authentic community activists, doing video work, presenting shows and movies and clips about who are the change makers in our communities today. And I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to work with them early on. They gave me an education, they helped me grow into the role, and they allowed me to learn how to successfully develop the relationships that move the work forward. And
Yeah.
and most importantly, recognize that we don't pick the people who want to work with us. And that became the
Important.
really powerful lesson in that first year.
Absolutely. And which this is gonna lead me right into next week's topic that I'm going to share it from. I don't have a next guest for next Friday. And that is when I had, as I was speaking about a culminating event, I had an epic oopsie doing that event with 300 parents, and this is in Queens, New York. But that's for next week. Oh, look who just joined us, Lou. I must give a shout out to Robert Perkins. Mr. Perkins is in the house telling me that I'm a change maker. No, I'm pretty sure this is for Lou. What's going on, Mr. Perkins? Thank you for joining. He's giving you the thumbs up or strength. I'm not sure. And Jimmy saying, what a great lesson. Yes. So guys, again, give your love to Lou if you are watching the replay. Make sure if you have any questions, Lou, would you be able to answer any of those? If you are available, I can send you a text if anybody has a question for you.
Absolutely. And I apologize for my absence in the middle of this, but I guess it worked out that you got to share your story, which was, I think, dovetailed nicely with what we were talking about. And the guitar, anything
I
is better with the
apologize for
guitar.
that. I apologize to the real musicians out there. I really do. Okay, Jimmy's giving shout outs to Mr. Perkins. Now we have everybody shouting out each other. I love it. Loved Lou as well. Mr. Bruschi, remember for 3 years I called you Mr. Bruschi until finally last year I called you Lou? This is incredible.
And I'm a very informal guy. I really work hard. You know, I'm in a lot of different spaces, and I insist that everybody call me Lou, but it took you a very long time to get there.
It's cultural. It's absolutely cultural because, you know, Latinos, you know, it's Mr. and Mrs. You know, don't be calling people by their first name, Patty. Zito's rule. Yes, Mr. Perkins. Both Jimmy and I. Oh, my husband just got a shout out as well. Lou, thanks for joining us. Thank you, everyone who has tuned in, from Mr. Perkins to Jimmy, to Katie. Katie or Katia? Tell me how you pronounce
Katya.
Katia, and
I, I,
Teresa.
I believe Katya is from South America as well.
Oh, I love it. We have gone international here. Betty Lopez, Glenn Cadell, Savannah Darlene, Jesse, Yolanda Soto, and Jimmy. Thank you, everyone who's been in the live with us and those who join us in the replay. Lou, let me get a smile from you so we could go for the picture. Cheese. I love it. Thank you. And I'll see you guys next Friday. Bye, Lou. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thanks to all my friends out there and all my new friends.
All your new friends. That's right. And my new friends who made me play the guitar, even though I don't know how to play the guitar. You shall be remembered.
Thank you, Patty. It's a pleasure being on tonight.
You got it. Bye, Lou. Bye, everybody. Thank you.